Welcome to episode 296 of OTD, your daily dose of soccer history by a 17-law guy. It's August 23rd, 1930. Brussels, the Heysel Plateau. Belgium is celebrating 100 years of independence, and today a vast new national stadium opens. Around 70,000 capacity, a football pitch, athletics, a wooden cycling track. Its name, the Centenary Stadium, or Jubilee Stadium. Later, the world will know it simply as Heysel. And exactly 65 years from today, this same ground will open again under a third name, the King Baudouin Stadium. But how did we get here? Belgium had become independent in 1830. A century later, Brussels wanted a monumental celebration. Sport was part of that ambition. Belgian football already had a substantial history. The federation dated to 1895. The national team played its first official international in 1904. Then came Antwerp, 1920. The Olympic Games. Belgium beat Spain, the Netherlands, and then Czechoslovakia in that extraordinary abandoned final. Olympic champions. Still the senior men's team's only major international title. 10 years later, Belgium was one of only 4 European nations willing to cross the Atlantic for FIFA's first World Cup in Uruguay. But the Red Devils did not really have one national home. They played around the country. Antwerp, Brussels, Liège. Before 1931, Antwerp and its surroundings hosted 32 of Belgium's first 67 home appearances, and now the capital wanted a stage worthy of the national team. And there was another reason to build at Heysel. Brussels was already planning the enormous International Exposition of 1935. The existing exhibition grounds at the centenary were too cramped, so the Heysel Plateau was being transformed from open land into an entirely new exhibition district. The stadium became the first great structure there. Architect Joseph van Neck designed it. Mayor Adolphe Max laid the foundation stone in October 1929. Less than a year later, it was ready. And on this day, October 23rd, 1930, the stadium opened for the Track Cycling World Championships. Football followed 3 weeks later, September 14, Belgium against the Netherlands, a wonderfully symbolic opponent for a centenary celebration of Belgian independence. The match was unofficial, but the result was emphatic. Belgium 4, Netherlands 1. Crown Prince Leopold attended, and between those two opening dates, something else happened. September 7, Leopold and Princess Astrid had a son, Baudouin. Remember that name. From 1931 onward, the stadium became the principal home of the Red Devils. And then, in 1935, the wider Heysel project came fully into view. The Brussels World Expo attracted around 20 million visitors. New exhibition halls, roads, trams, rail links, gardens. The stadium now sat inside a huge statement of Belgian modernity, built during difficult economic times and intended to generate jobs, optimism, and international prestige. But so what? After the Second World War, the stadium changed identity. The wooden cycling track had disappeared, apparently used as firewood during the occupation. And in 1946, the Centenary Stadium became the Heysel Stadium after the district around it. Now it grew into one of European football's great stages. 1958 European Cup final, Real Madrid against Milan. Di Stefano scores. Of course he does. Gento wins it in extra time. Madrid 3, Milan 2. European Cup finals return in 1966 and 1974. Cup Winners' Cup finals come too. And in 1972, Heysel stages the European Championship final. West Germany 3, Soviet Union 0. Beckenbauer, Netzer, Gerd Müller. And then, in 1976, Belgium club football gets its own great night there. Anderlecht beat West Ham 4-2 to win the Cup Winners' Cup. By then, Heysel is not merely Belgium's national stadium. It has become one of UEFA's preferred showpieces. But the building itself is aging. A tartan athletics track arrives in 1971, new floodlights in 1974. Yet much of the basic structure is still from 1930. And this is not uniquely Belgian. Across Europe, football is outgrowing stadiums built for another age. Huge terraces, poor crowd circulation, weak segregation, fences designed increasingly to contain spectators. At the same time, hooliganism is becoming a major problem, especially in English football, and European competition is exporting that violence across borders. Then comes May 29, 1985, European Cup final, Liverpool, Juventus, Heysel. The stadium is already in visibly poor condition. Parts are crumbling, Both finalists have questioned whether this ground is suitable for a European Cup final. UEFA keeps the match there. Then comes a disastrous segregation arrangement. Liverpool supporters are beside a supposedly neutral section containing large numbers of Juventus fans. Between them, temporary fencing. Objects are thrown. Liverpool supporters charge. The barrier gives way. People flee toward a retaining wall. They cannot get onto the pitch. They cannot get out quickly enough. The crush becomes unbearable. The wall collapses. 39 people die. More than 600 are injured. The match is still played because authorities fear cancelling it could trigger even greater disorder. Juventus win 1-0, but the football is irrelevant, and Heysel cannot be reduced to one simple cause. Hooligan violence was central, but so were the stadium's condition, ticketing, segregation, policing, and administration. 14 Liverpool supporters were eventually convicted of manslaughter. A Belgian police captain was convicted too. English clubs were banned from European competition, ultimately 5 seasons. Liverpool 6. The tragedy lands in the middle of a wider stadium crisis. Only 18 days earlier, 56 people had died in the Bradford City fire. 4 years later comes Hillsborough. Different disasters, different causes. But together they make one truth impossible to ignore. Football grounds and crowd management had to change. Heysel itself, astonishingly, did not immediately disappear. Belgium continued playing some internationals there. But finally, in 1990, UEFA barred Belgium from hosting another European final for at least 10 years. The national stadium needed more than repairs. It needed transformation. By then another tournament was approaching, the Euro 2000. Belgium and the Netherlands wanted to host it together. So Heysel was almost completely rebuilt. Only the monumental entrance from the original stadium survived. And now the royal story returns. The Crown Prince who attended the stadium's inauguration in 1930 became King Leopold III. His reign became deeply controversial during the Second World War after he surrendered the Belgian army against his government's wishes. After liberation came the bitter royal question over whether he could remain king. Belgium was divided. By 1951, Leopold abdicated. His successor, the baby born between the stadium's 2 opening events in 1930, Baudouin. He reigned for 42 years. And when Baudouin died in 1993, the reconstructed National Stadium was named after him, the King Baudouin Stadium. And then comes the date, August 23rd, 1995, exactly 65 years after the original stadium opened. Belgium against Germany. Football returns to the rebuilt ground. Germany win 2-1, but the result hardly matters. The stadium has been born again. And despite UEFA's earlier prohibition, the rebuilt venue soon regains European trust. Less than a year later, the 1996 Cup Winners' Cup final. Paris Saint-Germain 1, Rapid Wien 0. Then comes Euro 2000. The opening match is here. Belgium beats Sweden 2-1. And later, France beat Portugal here in the semi-final on their way to becoming European champions. Before we go, 3 things to take away from August 23, 1930. First, this stadium was built as far more than a football ground. It was part of Belgium celebrating 100 years of independence and Brussels creating an entirely new exhibition district. Second, its 3 names tell the history around it. Centenary Stadium, Heysel Stadium, King Baudouin Stadium, and the royal thread runs right through them. Leopold at his inauguration, Baudouin born between the opening events, Leopold's controversial reign and abdication, Baudouin succeeding him, and eventually Baudouin's name on the rebuilt stadium. And third, stadiums are not passive scenery. Architecture, maintenance, ticketing, policing, crowd management, they shape what happens inside them. At Heysel in 1985, those failures combined with violence to create catastrophe. On this day in 1930, cyclists entered Belgium's new Jubilee Stadium for the first time. 65 years later, football entered the rebuilt King Baudouin Stadium. Same date, same ground, 3 names, and an extraordinary amount of European history in between. That's all for episode 296 of OTD, your daily dose of soccer history by 17 Law Sky. Tomorrow, go to August 24, 1963. For decades, West Germany somehow resists creating one national professional football league. Then 16 clubs finally line up, and the Bundesliga kicks off. Stay tuned.